Hello and welcome to Tea and New Book Tuesday, and I'm on the wrong slide. I'm already messing up. Hi, I'm Lisa. I'll be your librarian today. Today we're going to talk about books that have been pre-ordered by Mobile Public Library, are already in the catalog, and you can put them on hold before their release date. Many of them will come out and be available to check out on the release date. Not all of them, but several of them. So today we're going to talk about science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Because you're never getting out of a month with me without hearing about horror. Sorry, that's how it goes. We're going to have our giveaway, which we enjoy. We're going to talk about science fiction. We're going to talk about fantasy. We're going to talk about horror. So, as I was babbling before I finally realized I was genuinely live, how was everybody's Mardi Gras weekends and plans coming together? I always have a very chill Mardi Gras weekend, which is I usually don't go to the parades. I will if there's like a friend in town, or sometimes I'll go to a parade that's earlier. I don't usually go to Mardi Gras weekend parades. I stay in Daphne. I stay over in Baldwin County, and my sister and I are already planning all of our snacks because we have a tendency like hold up, play video games, eat snacks, read, have good times, pet cats. Things like that. I think I told you last week that I was going to go camping and that like an idiot I was going to take the cats. I wised up, did not take the cat, still went camping on the coldest weekend of the last several, and it was cold. We huddled in the tent a lot of the time, but it was still fun, so I enjoyed it. All right, let's get on to your favorite part of Tea and New Book Tuesday and mine, the giveaway. So let's go back to, no, there we go. All right. I have 2 pre-releases, a nonfiction, and a fantasy novel. So let's start with the fantasy novel since that's our theme for this week. We have Blue-Skinned Gods by S.J. Sindhu. So this is from an award-winning author. In Tamil Nadu, India, a boy is born with blue skin. His father sets up an ashram, and the family makes a living off the pilgrims who seek the child's blessings and miracles, believing young Kalki to be the 10th human incarnation of the Hindu god Vishnu. In Kalki's 10th year, he is confronted with 3 trials that will test his power and prove his divine status, and, his father tells him, spread his fame worldwide. While he seems to pass them, Kalki begins to question his divinity. Over the next decade, his family unravels, and every relationship he relied on, father, mother, aunt, uncle, cousin, starts falling apart. Traveling from India to the underground rock scene of New York City, Blue-Skinned Gods explores ethnic, gender, and sexual identities, and spans continents and faiths, in an expansive and heartfelt look at the need for belief in our globally interconnected world. It also has LGBT themes. So that's Blue-Skinned Gods. That's a book that's already out. I want to say we bought copies, but I'm not sure. Next up, we have a book that's not going to be out until March 1st. So this is a pre-publication advanced reader copy. Tell Me an Ending by Joe Harkin. Okay. Tell Me an Ending follows 4 characters grappling with the unexpected question of whether to remember an unknown event or to leave it buried forever. Finn, an Irish architect living in the Arizona desert, begins to suspect his charming wife of having an affair. May, a troubled grad school knockout in Kuala Lumpur, wonders why she remembers a city she's never visited. William, a former police investigator in England, struggles with PTSD, the breakdown of his marriage, and his own secret family history. Oscar, a handsome young man with almost no memories at all, travels the world in a constant state of fear. Into these characters' lives comes Noor, an emotionally closed-off psychologist working at the Nepenthe Memory Removal Clinic in London, who begins to suspect her glamorous boss, Louise, of serious wrongdoing. Tell Me an Ending is a thrilling and speculative novel exploring what the world would be like if we were able to wipe away our worst moments. In this polyphonic tale, author Joe Harkin raises provocative questions about the nature of memory through characters who confront new knowledge about themselves and their need for answers, meaning, connection, and story. So that's Tell Me an Ending, which comes out March 1st. Next up, a mystery that comes out March 22nd, At Any Cost by Andrea Kane. This is part of the Forensic Instincts series. Okay. Amy Brigman? I didn't look up names today, as you can tell. Amy had the perfect life. She had an enviable job as head of marketing for an up-and-coming CBD-infused beer that was taking the tri-state area by storm. She had cultivated a mass social media following that showcased the beer at college campus parties and alumni events and had fun doing it. She had an attentive, steady boyfriend and friends who believed in her. Everything was going right. But when her longtime mentor, Rita, sets up a business meeting with an important influencer, her life crashes all around her. The casual meeting over drinks suddenly devolves into a shouting match between all parties, and any chance of a new business relationship is over before it begins. Hours later, when the NYPD shows up at Amy's apartment, questioning her about Rita's abrupt disappearance, foul play suspected, Amy realizes she's in way over her head. Fearing that Rita has been murdered and that she may be next, Amy hires Forensic Instincts to keep her safe and to figure out what's going on. So that's At Any Cost by Andrea Kane. Next up is our nonfiction title, Stranger in the Shogun City, A Japanese Woman and Her World by Amy Stanley. So, this is described as a moving portrait of an unconventional woman during the first half of the 19th century in Edo, which would become Tokyo, and of a great city on the brink of a momentous encounter with the West. So, Stranger in the Shogun City. All of these are on our Goodreads giveaway Google form, so you can pick one out that you would like to win. I will be picking a winner and letting people know tomorrow around this time, probably noonish. So yeah, be sure to sign up for that. I've got a couple of leftovers there too, in case you're interested in those. But now that we've done giveaway, let's move on to our books. Okay. I didn't separate them by genre. I almost never do with science fiction, fantasy, and horror because the lines between these things aren't hugely drawn clear, like deep and and liney and defined, and you can't come over here. You get what I mean? You get what I mean. Okay. Oh, and my tea today is it was the passion tea from Starbucks, iced, but I drank it all. And yes, I am still kind of avoiding hot tea. I had some when I was camping because my mother made it for me. But other than that, have I boiled water since? I don't think I've boiled water since then. No, I had tea yesterday. I made myself a cup of tea yesterday. That's right. I was like, I thought I did, but anyway. Okay, moving on. The Quarter Storm by Veronica G. Henry. Haitian-American voodoo priestess Rena Dumond runs a healing practice from her New Orleans home. Gifted with water magic since she was a child, Rena is devoted to the benevolent traditions of her ancestors. After a ritual slaying in the French Quarter, police arrest a fellow voodoo. I could pronounce this in the rehearsal. Okay. Of course, I was alone, so there's no one here to tell me I was doing it wrong. Voodooisant. Another practitioner of voodoo. Detective Roman Frost, that's not the practitioner. Detective Roman Frost, Rena's ex-boyfriend, a fierce non-believer, is eager to tie the crime and half dozen others to the voodoo practitioners of New Orleans. Rena resolves to find the real killer and defend the voodoo practices and customs, but the motives behind the murder are deeper and darker than she imagines. As Rena delves into the city's shadows, she untangles more than just the truth behind the devious crime. It's a conspiracy. As a killer wields dangerous magic to hamper Rena's investigation, she must tap into the strength of her own power and faith to solve a mystery that threatens to destroy her entire way of life. This is going to be a new series, and obviously it's going to be set amongst voodoo practitioners in New Orleans, which I thought sounded really interesting. So if you're interested in The Quarter Storm, it comes out March 1st. Moving on to... This is going to be a weird one to pronounce. Okay. I think it's the Doloroid? Doloroid. Okay. by Missouri Williams. In the wake of a mysterious environmental cataclysm that has wiped out the rest of humankind, the matriarch, her brother, and the family descended from their incest cling to existence on the edges of a deserted city. See, this is why I like science fiction, fantasy, and horror. They do not mess around. They're like, here's a very dramatic setup. Moving on. The matriarch, ruled with fear and force, dreams of starting humanity over again through her children are not so certain. Together, the family scavenges supplies and attempts to cultivate the poisoned earth. For entertainment, they watch U.S. tapes of a TV show in which a problem-solving medieval saint faces down a sequence of logical and ethical dilemmas. But one day, the matriarch dreams of another group of survivors and sends away one of her daughters, the legless Dolores, as a marriage offering. When Dolores returns the next day, her reappearance triggers the breakdown of the matriarch's fragile order, and the control she wields over the sprawling family begins to weaken. Told in extraordinary, intricate prose that moves with a life of its own, and at times striking with the power of a physical force, Missouri Williams' debut novel is a blazingly original document of depravity and salvation. Gothic and strange, moving and disquieting, and often hilarious, the Doloroid stares down with narrowed eyes humanity's unbreakable commitment to life. Okay, if you're interested in the, I don't know how to pronounce it, book by Missouri Williams, it comes out March 1st. Sundial by Catriona Ward. You can't escape what's in your blood. All Rob wanted was a normal life. She almost got it, too. A husband, 2 kids, a nice house in the suburbs. But Rob fears her oldest daughter, Kaylee, who collects tiny bones and whispers to imaginary friends. Rob sees a darkness in Kaylee, one that reminds her too much of the family she left behind. She decides to take Kaylee back to her childhood home, the Sundial, deep in the Mojave Desert, and there she will have to make a terrible choice. Callie is worried about her mother. Rob has begun to look at her strangely and speak of past secrets, and Kelly fears that only one of them will leave Sundial alive. The mother and daughter embark on a dark desert journey to the past in the hopes of redeeming their future. This got a starred review from Publishers Weekly, so if you're interested in Sundial, it comes out March 1st. The Circus Infinite by Con Wong. Hunted by those who want to study his gravity powers, Jess makes his way to the best place for a mixed-species fugitive to blend in, the Pleasure Moon. Here, everyone just wants to be lost in the party. It doesn't take long for him to catch the attention of the crime boss, who owns the resort casino where he lands a circus job. When the boss gets wind of the bounty on Jess's head, he makes an offer. Do anything and everything asked of him, or face vivisection. With no other options, Jess fulfills the request. Espionage, torture, demolition. And when the boss sets the circus up to take the fall for his about-to-get-busted narcotics operation, Jess and his friends decide to bring the mobster down together. And if Jess can avoid going back to being the prized subject of a scientist who can't wait to dissect him, even better. This is a first novel from Con Wong. It also got a starred review from Library Journal. So if you're interested in The Circus Infinite, it comes out March 8th. The Damage Done. Okay, so this is a long description. I'm going to give me some water. The Damage Done by Michael Landweber. Imagine a world devoid of violence. A world where fists can't hit, guns don't kill, and bombs can't destroy. In this tantalizing novel of possibility, this has become our new reality. The U.S. president must find a way to wage war. The Pope ponders whether the commitment "thou shalt not kill" is still relevant. A dictator takes his own life after realizing that violence he used to control his people is no longer an option. In the days after the change, 7 people who have experienced violence struggle to adapt to this radically new paradigm. Dab, a bullied middle schooler. Marcus, a high school student whose brother is the last victim of gun violence in America. Anne, a social worker stuck in an abusive marriage. Richard, a professor whose past makes him expect the worst in the present. Gabriella, who is making a dangerous border crossing into the U.S., The Empty Shell, a dissident writer waiting to be tortured in a notorious prison, and Julian, a white supremacist plotting a horrific massacre. As their fates intertwined, the things each of the 7 experience become emblematic of the promise and perils of the new world. The future holds bright new possibilities for ending terrorism, racism, and even hatred itself. But although violence is no longer possible, that doesn't mean that some among us won't keep trying. Mindless cruelty is still alive and well, and those bent on destruction will seek the most devious means to achieve it. Okay, if you're interested in The Damage Done, it comes out March 8th. All right, A Black and Endless Sky by Matthew Lyons. This one begins out, road trips can be hell. Siblings Jonah and Nell Talbot used to be inseparable, but ever since Jonah suddenly blew town 12 years ago, they couldn't be more distant. Now in the wake of Jonah's divorce, they embark on a cross-country road trip back to their hometown of Albuquerque, hoping to mend their broken relationship along the way. But when a strange accident befalls Nell in an abandoned industrial site somewhere in the Nevada desert, she begins experiencing ghastly visions and exhibiting terrifying otherworldly symptoms. As our journey through the desolate American Southwest reveals the grotesque change happening within his sister, one thing becomes clear to Noah. It's not only Nell in there anymore. Pursued by a mysterious stranger who knows far more about Nell's worsening condition than they let on, the siblings race to find a way to help Nell and escape the desert before they're met with a violent, bloody end. But there are far worse things lurking in the desert ahead, some of them just beneath the skin. This got a starred review from Publishers Weekly, and if you're interested in A Black and Endless Sky, it comes out March 15th. All right. Drowning Practice. I think this is the one I was really interested in this week. By Mike. McGinnis? McGinnis. It's gotta be, right? Okay. One night, everyone on Earth has the same dream. A dream of being guided to a watery death by a loved one on November 1st. When they wake up, most people agree, after Halloween, the world will end. In the wake of this haunting dream, and saddled with its uncertainty, Lyd and her daughter Mott navigate a changed world, wrestling with how to make choices when they really don't know what comes next. Embarking on a quixotic road trip filled with a collection of unexpected and memorable characters, Lyd and Mott are determined to live out what could be their final months as fully as possible. But how can Lyd protect Mott and help her achieve her ambitions in a world where inhibitions, desire, and motivation have become unpredictable, and where Mott's dangerous and conniving father has his own ideas about how his estranged family should spend their last days? Stirring and surprising at every turn, Drowning Practice is a literary speculative fiction at its best, with a pulsing heart. A mother and daughter trying to decide how they should live out what may be their final months of theirs or anyone's life on Earth. If you're interested in Drowning Practice, it comes out March 15th. All right. This is the one today that's gotten the most hype, and it has gotten a lot of hype. The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. Let's go with. When COVID-19 sweeps through New York City, Jamie Gray is stuck as a dead-end driver for food delivery apps. That is, until Jamie makes a delivery to an old acquaintance. Tom, who works at what he calls an animal rights organization, quotation marks. Tom's team needs a last-minute grunt to handle things on their next field visit. Jamie, eager to do anything, immediately signs on. What Tom doesn't tell Jamie is that the animals his team cares for are not here on Earth. Not our Earth, at least. In an alternate dimension, massive dinosaur-like creatures named Kaiju roam a warm and human-free world. They're the universe's largest and most dangerous panda, and they're in trouble. It's not just the Kaiju Preservation Society that's found its way to the alternate world. Others have too, and their carelessness could cause millions back on Earth to die. This got a starred review from Publishers Weekly. If you're interested in the Kaiju Preservation Society, it comes out March 15th. Okay. The Carnival of Ash by Tom Beckeridge, maybe? Cadenza is the city of words, a city run by poets, its skyline dominated by the steepled towers of its libraries, its heart beating to the stamp and thrum of the printing presses in the printing quarter. Carlo Mazzoni, a young wordsmith, arrives at the city gates, intent on making his name, as the bells ring out with the news of the death of the city's poet leader. Instead, he finds himself embroiled with the intrigues of the city in turmoil, the looming prospect of war with their rival Venice ever present, a war that threatens to not only destroy Cadenza, but remove it from history altogether. This is marked as fantasy. I don't see the fantasy element, but anyway, if you're interested in the Carnival of Ash, it comes out March 15th. All right, I really like the title of this one. Come Up and Serve Cold by Marion Deeds. Seattle, 1929. A bitterly divided city overflows with wealth, violence, and magic. A respective magus and city leader intent on criminalizing Seattle's most vulnerable magicers hires a young woman as a lady's companion to curb his rebellious daughter's outrageous behavior. The widowed owner of a speakeasy encounters an opportunity to make her husband's murderer pay while she tries to keep her shapeshifter brother safe. A notorious thief slips into a city to complete a delicate and dangerous job that will leave chaos in its wake. One thing is for certain, comeuppance eventually waits for everyone. Even though I like the title, I wouldn't necessarily have picked this, except it got both Publishers Weekly and Booklist starred reviews. And for some reason, I got the impression this might be the beginning of a series? Maybe? I don't know. If you're interested in Come Up and Serve Cold, it comes out March 22nd. All right. All the White Spaces by Allie Wilkes. In the wake of the First World War, Jonathan Morgan stows away on an Atlantic expedition, determined to find his rightful place in the world of men, aboard the expeditionary ship of his hero, the world-famous explorer, James Aurelius Randall. Jonathan may live as his true self and his true gender, and have the adventures he has always been denied. But not all is smooth sailing. The war casts its long shadow over them all, and grief, guilt, and mistrust skulk among the explorers. When disaster strikes in Antarctica's frozen Weddell Sea, the men must take to the land and overwinter somewhere, which immediately seems both eerie and wrong, a place not marked on any of their part-drawn maps of the vast white continent. Now completely isolated, Randall's expedition has no ability to contact the outside world, and no one is coming to rescue them. In the freezing darkness of the polar night, where the aurora creeps across the sky, something terrible has been waiting to lure them out into this deadly landscape. As the harsh Antarctic winter descends, this supernatural force will prey on their deepest desires and deepest fears to pick them off one by one. It is up to Jonathan to overcome his own ghosts before he and the expedition are utterly destroyed. Okay, if you're interested in all the white spaces, it comes out March 22nd. Wild and Wicked Things. This is our last book for the day. Lovely cover. It's by Francesca May. On Crow Island, people whisper, real magic lurks just below the surface. Neither real magic nor faux magic interests Annie Mason. Not after it stole her future. She's only on the island to settle her late father's estate and, hopefully, reconnect with her long-absent best friend Beatrice, who fled their dreary lives for a more glamorous one. Yet Crow Island is brimming with temptation, and the biggest one may be her enigmatic new neighbor. Mysterious and alluring, Emmeline Delacroix is a figure overshadowed by rumors of witchcraft. And when Annie witnesses a confrontation between Bee and Emmeline on one of the island's extravagant parties, she is drawn into a glittering haunted world, a world where the boundaries of the wickedness are tested, and the cost of illicit magic may be death. This is a first novel, but it also got a starred review from Library Journal, so if you're interested in Wild and Wicked Things, it comes out March 29th. All right. That's all our books for today. Next week, the library will be closed and there will not be a Tea Tuesday. I will join you again in March when we will talk about April's hits, because that's how we do this. But Between now and then, be sure to sign up for the giveaway. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter. All the links are hopefully in the description, maybe, possibly. And join me on Goodreads if you're inclined to do so. All right, I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.